That's what I was gonna open with, huh?
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
We are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Sport, and today we have Michael behind the other side of the glass. First time in months, my man.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy, but, you know, summer's coming to an end. Basketball's coming back.
You're coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great because obviously that's how it all started. So it's good to get back to the basics. So it's great to be able to do this with you. And of course, we're joined by Renee from the couch.
Yeah.
She's pumped up. She's pumped up to talk some Yankees Mets as well.
Dude, I was going to say, you must be excited because we don't have to talk Mets at all today.
Oh, my God. You have no idea. And even Buffer knows. And he says, I'm still proud of the Mets. Congrats, Barnes. So nice to see Buffer, humbling. You definitely enjoy seeing that. And I mean, there is just so much to talk about. And one thing you all notice is the last, 4 or 5 shows, maybe a little longer, I've been wearing my Yankee jersey. But now we complete the sweep of the Mets. We are back. Prayers have been answered. This is the team that we all expected, and just 2 gritty wins, and it was just so exciting. It was so nice to be in the park last night. But let's jump right into it, into the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. A back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy-Young, nada, where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
Win. That's right. The Yankees win 4-2, and we'll get into the specifics in a second, but just kind of wanted to walk everyone through. Had an interesting story too. So just kind of a synopsis. First of all, got there. I want to say I got off the train around 5, went to Billy's for an hour. I mean, you would have thought it was a World Series game. It was so packed. You could barely move in there. You would have never guessed it was a Tuesday. So the environment, it was pumping. It was great. So me and Mark, we had a good time there. Wanted to head in an hour before the game started because, we had the standing seats, and me and Tony were talking about it yesterday. Wanted to get a good view. I know that it was going to be packed, especially with Mets fans. So wanted to make sure I got a good spot. But we get in there, and there's a private party in center field, and that's where we usually stand. But there are standing areas, left field, left center field, right center field. So we went to the area in right, but it was funny. I was mentioning I have a story. So, of course, didn't start out with the Mets fans, but it ended with it. So, anyway, my friend, he was a little upset because it's like they gave us no notice of the fact that there was this event there, and they're telling us we can't go in there until first pitch, which is just ridiculous. And it's just not fair because, he was saying, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't have bought a standing room ticket, which is true. So he's kind of going back and forth with the security guard, a couple in, and I'm just like, Mark, just relax. So get him out of there, walk away, no problem. So that wasn't too crazy, but I want to say it must have been fast forward probably to the 8th inning. We've been standing there a while, tons of Mets fans all around, everybody's getting a little antsy. I'm sure they were upset they were losing. And this one particular Met fan, I go up to go to the bathroom or whatever it was, and he stands in my spot. So, Mark's getting all riled and just being like, you took a spot, just a little too aggressive. So the kid is getting up in his face. I swear a brawl is about to happen. And I literally stand up to the guy and I'm like, listen, man, he's had a couple. Nobody needs to get arrested here. We don't need this. I'm sorry about that, but let's just watch the game. Let's enjoy the game. This is great. So, and this happens 3 or 4 times, and I keep having to like go in the middle of them and just be like, everyone, just relax. Like, we don't need this. And he literally goes to me at the end of the game. He goes, I just want to let you know, I totally was gonna attack your boy. The only reason I didn't is because of you. And here we are. Obviously I've had a couple myself, but I just knew I had the wherewithal. We're not ruining this night. And it's just funny because we were just having this conversation about Yankee fans and being unruly. And I was saying the Met fan, here we are. This guy is trying to start something. And literally his friends too, at the end, even after all of this, had to tackle him so that he wouldn't attack Mark. I swear to God, it was unbelievable. So it was just nice that we got out of there unscathed, because I've said this to you before. I could have 30 beers and I would never attack somebody at a game. That's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just, I think that shows how Mets fans are, I mean, he's all ready to fight. I mean, what is a fight going to do, Michael? What is that going to prove?
It's so stupid, but it's so funny on the eve of you saying of that promo of you saying how much better Yankee fans are. Did you see Buffer? He said most of August has been a nightmare for the Yankees, but now they have a little win streak and momentum going. With that ridiculous payroll, it's crazy to see how the Yankees struggle so much to score runs.
It would be crazy if it wasn't for the fact, first of all, Buffer, they outscored the Mets 8-4, and second of all, if you've looked at the payroll standings recently, the Mets actually spend more money than the Yankees. And they've actually scored less runs this season. So just something to keep in mind. Obviously, it's a long season. There's going to be struggles. And I have to say, it's a shame that, Tony isn't here to talk about this, but I warned him. I said, you don't understand. You guys are riding a high. There's no warning. All of a sudden, this tough stretch is going to come up, and you're not going to expect it. And I have to say,
Braves are only 2 back.
And it's just like, I'm telling you, this
has the smell of what we're used to with the Mets.
Exactly. So not only a collapse, but I'm just saying right now,
this could be the worst collapse because they're all hyped and don't think the collapse is.
Yes.
But it's like, you've seen it time and time again, not just with the Mets, but in sports, dude. You could be hot for a whole half a season or not and flip it around. And then at the end of the season, you're the opposite of, like, dude, do you remember the Heat for the bubble run?
Mm-hmm.
They were the worst team in the league at the All-Star weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think they lost 5 games through to the playoffs.
Right. Unbelievable. You never see it coming. And I think that's what we're seeing here with the Mets. And like I said, I really think they might be falling off a cliff. I think they'll hang on to get the second or third wild card, but I think the Braves are taking this division. And, I was talking about, the offense, and here we are. Okay. The Yankees, they trot out Domingo Germán and Frankie Montas, not exactly Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax, and they score 4 runs in 2 games. So that just a mention. And I know, Steven Strider, the Braves pitcher, mentioned it. The Mets getting lucky offensively. So I just think this is a big concern for the Mets, and this is the Yankee team we expected. And it was just nice too, because obviously in these games, they didn't score 10 runs, but the fact that they got big hits, situational hitting, something they haven't done before. And the bullpen, I mean, they're getting contributions from everybody. So all in all, it was just a great win. We get a day off today. And then we start our road trip, 4 games in Oakland, which should be a sweep. Oakland, one of the worst teams in the league. But let's talk about how we got there. So to start this game off, I mean, you could say it was a pitcher's duel through 3.5 innings. No runs were scored. But then who else but Aaron Judge with his 48th home run, a bomb to left, 453 feet. That starts the scoring. Yankees get a couple on, and then actually Oswaldo Cabrera takes a walk. So then it's 2-0 Yankees. So they jump out to that lead. And then in the 5th, the Mets answer back with a Starling Marte single. That scores Mark Canha, but then Cabrera throws out Brett Beatty at home. So obviously the stadium was going nuts for that. That was a pretty big play because that would have tied the game. But it doesn't. So Yankees are up 2-1. They don't get anything done hitting wise in the bottom of the 5th. And then Jeff McNeil doubles to tie the game at 2. So at that point, then the Yankees take out Montas. So his final line was 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So, like I was saying yesterday, I expected him to have, representative, performance, something we haven't seen from before. He had really struggled his last start specifically, but I knew the Mets, light hitting team, I knew he would find success. Sure enough, he does. And then in comes Clark Schmidt, fresh from the minors, and he has been unbelievable for the Yankees this year. It's really a joke that he's been in the minors this long. But he gives him 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, allowing 3 hits, walking 3. But those are 3 huge innings. I was like, I was saying to Mark, I was like, we cannot bring in Chapman. Whatever we do, please do not bring in Chapman. So Schmidt got the job done. We'll get to that 9th inning in a second, but the Yankees answered back in the 7th, courtesy of an Andrew Benintendi single. So the former Red Sox paying huge dividends. He had the home run the other day, the big hits 2 nights ago, and then last night that was huge. So that scored Oswaldo Cabrera to make it 3-2, and then Aaron Judge with a single scoring Trevino. So that made it 4-2, and luckily for the Yankees, it stayed right there. But the Mets did rally in the top of the 9th. They got some runners on, so I'll just kind of walk you through how we got there. So pretty much, we had a ground out to start the inning. Then Brett Beatty flied out, but then Tyler Naquin walked. Brandon Nimmo reached on an infield single, and then Starling Marte walked. So once that happens, it's like, all right, we got to get Schmidt out of there. We don't want him to blow it. And I really thought they were going to bring in Chapman. I was like, literally, Chapman is either going to walk in 3 guys, or he's going to give up a grand slam. We can't have it. They bring in Wandy, who's not my favorite either, but he induces a Lindor fly out to center to make it 4-2. So the Yankees sweep the Subway Series edition in the Bronx. Like I said before, huge win, and it was just really refreshing to see them hang on there. And it really got me excited to think, how much better they're going to be once they get some reinforcements, in the names of Giancarlo Stanton, who's going to be joining the team on Thursday in Oakland. And then, they're going to get Clay Holmes back very soon as well. So I think they're going to try him at closer again, which will be huge. And then Harrison Bader, once he comes back from that Liz Frank injury, he'll be the starting center fielder, and, Aaron Hicks hasn't been playing much here, so that'll continue. So I think the combination of those things will get the Yankees back to where they need to be. And, you got 7 games against teams that are well under 500. No excuse not to go 5-2 on this West Coast trip before they go to Tampa, which will be a huge game. And the stadium was rocking, the energy was there, and it's like, these are the type of games. This felt like a postseason game. And Aaron Judge even said the other day, this might be a World Series matchup we see. So it's nice to see that the Yankees can win this type of game, doing the right things right. Laying down a bunt against Scherzer, and then against Walker, who Tony, for whatever reason, very high on. I thought he was just completely trash. And listen, I mean, he didn't pitch terrible, but he didn't pitch great either last night, which is, what I expected. Did you listen to Dave this morning?
I did not. I'm glad he's back. I've been missing him. I haven't tuned in because I'm like, he's just not going to be back all week. But real quick, before you get to that, Mary Material says the Mets still swept the first 2. Would you like to comment on that real quick?
Well, I mean, we're talking about something that happened over a month ago. I mean, the Yankees won like 70 games before the All-Star break. I mean, we could talk about stuff that happened then. It's about now,
exactly.
Not then.
So then Mary continues to add, the end of the last night's game was close. Those Yanks were sweating.
Speaking of sweating, I mean, what are the Mets doing now? 2-game lead over the Braves? I would call that sweating, no?
And then that's a good segue to Befur's comment. The Mets are 79-46, the second best record in the National League, and a better record than the Braves or Yankees. If the Mets go 21-16 here, they will win 100 games.
But what's going to happen if the Braves
I hear a lot of ifs.
25-12? What happens then, Befur? If this, if that. I'm just saying, I just like in Dave's part of it. That's why I mentioned him.
Yeah, I mean, what was he saying this morning?
He was saying, oh, no, you got to give it to the Yankees. I mean, they needed it. Those were 2 big wins. But, I mean, Lindor at the end of the game, that ball, is 5. If that ball is 5 feet overhead, I mean, the Mets are winning this game. And then it's just like, stop. And then he's talking about, for the rotation. I mean, sure, yeah. Obviously, I mean, the Yankees could win the World Series, but obviously, I mean, I feel so much better about the Mets. And it's just like, listen, you guys are acting like it's not there. You're acting like the lead hasn't shrunk a lot, and you're acting like it's just a given that they're going to contend for a World Series. And I'm sorry. I mean, I have trouble getting them out of the division series. I think there's a lot of tough matchups in the National League that could give them trouble, whether it's the Cardinals, whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the Braves, whether it's the Phillies. And I know they played well against the Phillies, but Bryce Harper's coming back, and I think that just makes it a completely different ballgame. So, I just think it's, you got to be prepared for it. And I think this is going to be a tough stretch for the Mets. And you think, oh, well, they got an off day today. Then they got Colorado for a 4-game set. Oh, they should probably win 3 out of 4 or sweep them. I'm telling you, you mark that stuff down. You play down to your competition. And then also Jacob deGrom. I mean, they were saying, oh, they wanted to give him an extra day of rest. I don't know. I think there's just a little suspicion there, just in terms of, is he going to be injured again? I cannot say confidently that Jacob deGrom is going to get through the rest of this season without an injury. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then Max Scherzer, I mean, clearly he didn't have his best stuff. 4 runs allowed against the Yankees the other day. Is he getting tired? He's 38 years old. So there's just so much uncertainty. And it just was funny to hear Dave talking about the Mets like it's a given that they're in so much of a better position than the Yankees. It's just like, no, they're not. Their lineup sucks. And I feel like he's got to realize that they've gotten lucky. Strider was right.
We have a battle of, I think, brother and sister in here. Uncle Richie, the Mets do not want to meet the Yankees in the World Series, so they are downplaying the sweep. Mary Material, Barnes. Those Mets will go all the way. A lot of ifs for the Yanks. Relax, Barnes. Don't take it personal. The proof is in the stats.
So Uncle Richie, my guy, it's been a while, but obviously I agree with you. And then as far as, Mary here, you're talking about a lot of ifs in the Mets all the way. And the proof is in the stats. I mean, I think the proof is in the stats that the Mets haven't won a title in over 30 years. So, and they've collapsed several times. So I think those stats show. I mean, it's just like, we can't act like this year is so much different until they prove it. Me and Tony were having this conversation yesterday. And if anybody who hasn't watched yesterday's episode, I mean, I really think it was one of our better ones. You're just hilarious back and forth between me and Tony. And I said the reason why I get so annoyed with Mets fans is they just continue to make it, oh, look at us. We're the Mets. We're the Mets. Look at us. And it's just like, look at what? You haven't done anything. I'll respect you when you do something. But at the end of the day, you can't act like you're the toast of town. You've always been second, and you always will be until you do something. So, I mean, you could spin it any way you want. But at the end of the day, they have a lot to prove, and that's it. That's
Yankees back on track, LMFAO prefer, but Richie goes, Uncle Richie says, I was happy to see Lindor up with his cocky smile because I knew he was going down.
And there we go again, Lindor. Tony's talked about how, oh, no, he's fine. He's fine. And I'm not going to say he hasn't had somewhat of a bounce back year, but there's a big spot. He's going against Wandy Peralta. I mean, if all of our guys are healthy, Wandy Peralta's pitching in the 6th inning. So here we go again. Offensively, the Mets struggle, especially when Pete Alonso isn't going. There's no one that scares you. They're a bunch of singles hitters, and that doesn't win in the postseason. You have to hit home runs in the postseason.
Mary thinks you are annoyed with her. She says, take it easy. But I think it's all loving games from Barnes, obviously.
Oh, of course. And really appreciate your feedback, your comments. I will say this to anybody, and I think all of you guys,
Mets fans.
Yeah, no, but Mets fans, but I'm saying specifically like you, Renee, Tony, like when we all first met, we were talking about this stuff, everyone kind of felt like, whoa, like he's kind of being hard on Tony here. But it just, I've explained this many times, nothing to do with that. That's how I've always felt in regards to the Mets. And it's just a common thing. Me and Mark were talking about it last night. It's like when the Yankees, like the Mets are just annoying. It is what it is. They're not our competition, but they're annoying. And that's just what it is.
Mary goes, I'm not getting my brother's comments on my screen, which is hilarious because then Uncle Richie goes, tell her to go make some lasagna.
Uncle Richie with the one-liners. Honestly, it's great. It's great. There's just no other way to say it, honestly. So, hey, I hope that we get a Subway Series. Obviously we've only had one, and it was, 22 years ago.
Oh,
better
what a
team
time.
won then. We know the better team will win now. And yeah, I just think at the end of the day, like I said, and of course I enjoy chirping the Mets. I'll be the first one to say that, but the lineup's not that good. And you could, say about the Yankees offense struggling recently or whatnot, but the difference is the Mets don't have a former MVP in Giancarlo Stanton coming back. They don't have any reinforcements.
Yeah, the reinforcements came back, and it's still like
they're not that good.
Yeah.
We must defend our team just like you. I think Yankees fans are snobby just like them.
And tell Richie to go hit some pickleballs.
And
we're actually, I don't know if they told you, we're going to Staten Island this weekend.
Oh, yeah. He did mention something about that. Yeah.
We're going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Mary. We're coming Friday late night, like after Tony's rugby. So probably get there around 8, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, that should be, a fun weekend.
Have some lasagna.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of Met talk without me there. But listen, like I said, I want the opportunity to play them. And at the end of the day, you could think, Yankee fans are being snobby, but it's just like, we are who we are. We've always been better. And it's just like, we're not making it up. You know what I mean? We're not saying it for no reason.
It's just tough because, if I were a Met fan, I wouldn't be able to say anything because it's 28 World Series.
Right. Versus, I think 2 or 3.
It might even be 1. I think it's just 2.
No, it's definitely 2. I think it's 2.
The back-to-back years. And that,
or they were close. I think it was like
gap,
69 Mets. And then I forgot 86 Mets. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. It's just
we
tough. Will call you.
Yeah. I just, I don't know. It's almost like Knicks and Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not, or Lakers and Clippers is a better example.
Yes.
Lakers has 20 something championships. Clippers 0, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, what's a better way to put this type of conversation to rest? Go do it. But the thing is, you have to do it. And if you haven't done it, you haven't done it. That's it. And I'm curious too, because I know obviously, basketball is your sport, Michael. But one thing that's always just really ticked me off, the people that aren't diehard baseball fans, and some older fans that actually are pretty big fans, they'll say, "Oh, well, I like the Yankees and the Mets." Like, what? Or they'll be like, "It's New York." No. It's not New York. Okay, there's the Bronx, and then there's Flushing, New York. It's completely different, and I just don't think the two should be mixed together.
No, I mean, no, definitely not. And if you have to, at the end of the day, you do have to pick one or the other.
Exactly. So I just think that type of talk, is ridiculous. So listen, like I said, welcoming the challenge. But specifically, I know it's funny. We said we're going to talk about the Mets. I feel like we've talked about them just as much as the Yankees this show.
I know.
But specifically, like I said, I just feel good about, the opponents coming up, which I think is big. And the fact that this is really the sweet spot. I think the lead right now is 8 games. So it's like, we can just not let it go below that and really expand the lead. I think that's just going to be huge. I'm very encouraged by what we've seen out of our pitching staff recently. When the offense has gone down, the pitching staff has actually been pretty good. That type of start from Montas last night, we'll take that any day of the week. And then one other guy that I forgot to mention, Luis Severino coming back. And it's just kind of interesting with Domingo Germán pitching so well, bullpen a little short. Maybe Severino ends up being in the postseason bullpen. I think they want him to start, but wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. But we'll go with who we have. And I'm just riled too that we've stopped putting Chapman in the big spots because we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's like being a position player, not being able to hit. Like, how are you a pitcher, let alone a pitcher that pitches in clutch situations, and you make a lot of money and you can't throw a strike? Like, I just can't wrap my arms around that. That's like being a basketball player, basically like Ben Simmons. You make $40 million, but you can't shoot.
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be one of your main skills? I don't understand how stuff like that happens. I really don't. So, and I think too, the Yankees, if you look at it, in Oakland, they definitely have, struggled before. I think a big part of that is the time difference. But also, the A's usually have competitive teams, but this year they just sold all those aspirations, out the window, and really just traded everyone away. Montas being one of those guys, obviously that wasn't until the deadline, but with Chapman before the season, Manaea, just to name a couple people. So I think the team is so weak that this sets up well for us. I think our pitchers are going to pitch very well, and the offense will really be sparked by the return of Giancarlo Stanton. And I just think overall, some of the guys that, have struggled are really going to start heating up, and it's all coming at the right time. And like I said, that series against the Rays is going to be very important, but it will, it'll be a little more relaxed if, right, like I said, right now the lead over them is 8. If by the time we play them, the lead is 10, 11, 12, if we're at that point, then I feel like we're pretty good. I mean, I know the Rays won last night, so it's one of those things we don't pick up any ground, but you just, at this point, it's just about stacking wins after that tough stretch. And I think now this makes us 7-14 in August, which is obviously terrible. So we just want to finish this month out strong and then, look forward to September, which, you have some big series as well. And then it's interesting too, Judge went, I think, 9 games without a home run. Last night's home run, back-to-back games, so 47 and 48. Right now, he's on pace for 63 home runs, which would obviously break the team record, the American League record, obviously 61 from Roger Maris. So that's something to watch out for as well. And I'm sure the Yankees will give him every opportunity to do so. So that's just exciting stuff. So a lot to be excited about. And it's just crazy how quick momentum changes. And, like I said, Mets definitely got some work to do. We'll see if, they're able to hold off the Braves. I feel like the talent level on the Braves is so much higher. It's going to be a tough task. So, but hey, the Mets end up keeping the division, winning the division. Hats off to them. But they have a lot of work to do and a lot slimmer margins than we do right now. So I think it plays in our favor.
Just a few more comments. Mary Materio, Yankee fans never humble, even when they suck, which wasn't too long ago. Whereas Anthony, he's at rugby. And then Prefer, Yankees fans are weird. We had a season split, and they are acting like they won the World Series. Wild.
And it's funny, a month ago when you won those 2 games, you were acting like you won the World Series Prefer. So really wish Tony was here to talk about this. But we'll, there's never short of time for us to debate about this. And he's at work right now, so I don't think he's watching, but I know he'll watch the episode later. But Chokery is absolutely gonna love this conversation. And I feel really good because how like you'll have a friend and they don't like it, they're not into a sport or a team, and then you kind of bring them under your wing and get them to be a fan. Chokery really this season specifically, and it started with the postseason last year, has really become a big Yankee game. He went to his first Yankee game with me this year, and he's so into it. He loves the conversation, and it's just really nice to when you do that, because it's like one of those things me and Tony talk about all the time. When people say baseball sucks, baseball is boring, but then when you get someone, you show them the way, they see the light. It's really refreshing. And I think the next person up on this list is Renee, because right now I know she was a little struggle. Yeah. When we went to the Yankee game together, she was having a little tough time towards the end, but I think I could really get her into it. And once the playoff starts, once the Yankees are in the World Series, she'll see the light. I could just tell it by looking at her on the couch. And I know you know this too, Michael.
Yes, 100%.
And listen, I know, you're similar with baseball, but obviously you can tolerate a little more, but I know once the playoffs come around, you're going to be pretty into it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I only care about the playoffs. I'm like LeBron.
Yeah.
I just get me to the playoffs. Steph Curry, get me to the playoffs.
Now, I just kind of interested because you know how I am. I'm pitch by pitch. I'm all 162. Every win is just as important as the other. And I know it's been a while for you. I guess this season 2 years ago, technically, but like, do you feel like that with the Knicks? Like when they're
every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wake up with a sour taste in your mouth when they lost, and it's like a tough loss. Like,
especially early on when it's still hope.
But even if, and I know this hasn't happened too much recently, but let's say, they're leading the division. They're like the 3rd seed. They have a big lead and they just lose a game. And it's like, it doesn't really have any consequence, but it still kills you inside.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes.
But that's, being a sports fan is tough. Winning is tough. And I think, that's the magic of sports. And I think it really is such a good thing in life when, there's so many bad things out there. Sports is the one thing that I feel like will always be sacred, will always be good feels. And I know, rule changes and different stuff like that. Bad commissioners, Rob Manfred, for instance, could get in the way. But I think at the end of the day, that message, that refreshing thing, that positive thing will always be there no matter what happens. And I think that's what's so great about sports. It's the best diversion from anything else that you could think of.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And I know you've always felt like that. And one thing, actually, I didn't get to ask you about this, but I saw it, I think, on your Instagram story. You were shooting the other day, basketball?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
I've been shooting, dude, a little bit. Great, dude. Outdoor court. We went to Lake Compounds and I won 2 basketball games.
2 basketball games.
One was the short one.
Uh-huh.
One was the big hoop one, like 12 feet, whatever, from the distance. Missed this first. You get 3 shots. Missed the first. Missed the second. Hit the third. I look at Tony with the camera. I'm like, Kobe Bean Bryant. And I got like this big husky, Yukon Husky. Oh, and the ball I got was a DTV ball because I could have chosen from like so many different NBA teams, all which I knew you would hate. So I picked Yukon basketball.
There we go.
So I got a Yukon Huskies basketball, which it's a good outdoor ball, dude. It's like perfect for outdoors, great grip, not like cheap feel, like a good feel. And then it was dope because we couldn't fit the Husky in the car. It was so big with all of us when we were leaving. And it was this dad watched me hit the shot. It was his daughter's birthday and he didn't win one and they were leaving. So we got to give her the Husky.
Oh, and she must have loved it.
Oh my, I was going to hang it on the tree there.
Wow.
So if anyone grabbed it, could grab it at least on the floor, but it was dope. But yeah, I don't even know how we got there, but yeah. So that actually made me start being like, dude, I got to shoot more just to get out there. And it was nice, dude. I was just shooting and I definitely want to somehow get us in a league for the winter.
That will be ridiculous.
I think if we plan once a week to just go play 3s, 2s outdoors, we'll be ready.
Now, where were you?
That
shooting?
is across from Town Hall in downtown Fairfield. There's a church.
Okay.
With a full court.
Yeah, because I go to the town hall to take up permits sometimes.
But then there's also one by Gold Manor by Matt's house, so we could go to with a really nice new hoop.
Okay.
They just built it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely down for that. So let's try to coordinate that with everybody. I'm getting excited too because I was just talking to Mark about this yesterday because he does a league himself, and with the weather turning sooner than later, I was saying I'm really, really going to get into basketball once I won't be able to golf anymore. So I'm definitely excited about that. It's been a long layoff.
Oh yeah. Sure. Mary, you must admit the Mets have come a long way. They have shake the Yanks, who are the most of the time on top. So that is a huge jump in talent management. We still love you, Barnes, even if you are a snob. Can I play? I used to be good before. I played like Pistol Pete.
So a couple things here, and I guess just because that was the last thing you said, we'd love to play basketball with you first. So let's set that up, of course. But as far as what Mary says here, I mean, listen, they've made some good moves. Nobody's not saying that they didn't. Buck is great as manager. No one's gonna deny that. But like I was saying, I think pitching has always been strong, and we saw that in their 2015 World Series run that really carried them. But here we are again, and I just feel like the offense is a problem. And I feel like this offseason, there was a lot of talk. Oh, Uncle Stevie, spending like a drunken sailor. And it's like, yes, they signed Max Scherzer. Starling Marte is pretty good, but the problem is that lineup just lacks juice. And Francisco Lindor, doesn't hit like a $300 million player. He should be hitting 40 home runs a year, and he'll be lucky to hit 28. So I think that's where they still need to come. And I know, like I said, I just am complimenting Buck Showalter, but at the same time, he's been around the game a lot, hasn't won the big one. So it's gonna be interesting to see how does he manage come postseason time? You know, we saw a wild card game with the Orioles went to extra innings. This was when Zach Britton, who actually is rehabbing to come back with the Yankees right now after I think it was Tommy John surgery. And you know, he didn't use him, and they ended up losing the game. And he said he's saving him for the end, but the end never came. Obviously, his guy blew it. So I just think, what's Buck gonna do? You know, is DeGrom gonna be healthy? Is Scherzer gonna wear down? And then are they gonna hit? So I think those are some question marks. And what if you want to say that's a big improvement from last year? Absolutely. I mean, last year they were under 500. And I believe now that I'm thinking about this, I think they made the playoffs last in 2016, the year after they made it to the World Series, lost in the wild card game to the Giants, and haven't been back since. So it's been a long time, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs this year. But it's just a question, how far can they go? And it's going to be interesting for those questions to be answered.
I totally agree.
Something about a battery pack?
Yeah.
Are we good?
All batteries are down.
What about our closer? Great. We've talked about this. Obviously, Diaz has had a great season. But I mean, just a couple of things that are just ridiculous here. Number one, we've talked about this many, many times, but any type of comparison to Mariano Rivera,
It's so disrespectful.
I mean, it's
blasphemous.
insane. And it's like, did Mariano Rivera ever have a 7 ERA like Diaz did a couple years ago? Did Mariano Rivera have the most saves all time, most postseason saves all the time? Yeah. How many postseason saves does Edwin Diaz have? You know, so there's a difference between the regular season and the postseason. And then to top that off, what is with the trumpets? Why is there hype about that? I mean, I just feel like that's something to be made fun of. Like, I don't know.
I just think it's blasphemous. Mariano is like, I don't know, like the Jesus of pitchers.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And how about the fact, Michael, that at age 42, he tore his ACL, came back, and had a season where his ERA was under 3. I mean, are you kidding?
Yeah. He could have still kept playing. Honestly.
Oh my! I think he could still be pitching right now.
I know.
And I wish he
it's
was.
Crazy. It's so nuts.
And he threw one pitch. How many guys have succeeded and thrown one pitch and had a season that was a career that was over 20 seasons?
I know.
Like, I mean, are you kidding? You know, and then he winning 5 titles. So I never compare players, and I love the trumpets. And no, but a lot of people have been making that comparison, which is crazy. The trumpets, it's like wild thing. I just feel like
I don't mind the trumpets too much. It's like whatever. But you know what I found out, speaking of music, you know the song "Sweet Caroline" that plays in Boston.
Oh,
yeah. I thought you'd love this because you hate Boston.
Boston, of course.
And everybody's like, right about the song
right,
"Sweet Caroline." Oh. You know what that song's about?
No.
A little girl.
Really?
The songwriter. What's his name? Sweet Caroline. Neil Diamond.
Okay, Neil Diamond. Yep.
I think it's about I'm just gonna get the Caroline is about you see pervy roots of Sweet Caroline, dude. He wrote it about a little girl dressed in her it's about a little girl.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird, dude?
Yeah.
So once again, Boston sucks.
Exactly. And just one thing I'll say, and I think you could kind of agree with me on this. I guess my issue with the trumpets is it's like, okay, you're a closer. You're slamming the door on the other team. You're going out the trumpets. Like, I mean, like I said this the other day. Should we have a mariachi band on the field? This song's got to be more intense.
I feel like it trumpets to people are like a sign of like being triumphant, I guess. But I see what you're saying. It needs more to be more dark, more like grungy, rock and roll. Like, give me some.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
You know what was embarrassing?
Don't all players come out to music?
Oh, yeah. But they're usually not trumpets.
Oh, we got a phone call. It's not for what we think it is.
Oh, I thought someone was coming on. I was going to say, though, tell me this isn't typical Mets, Michael. Literally, you remember Billy Wagner, right? Left-handed closer. So he was on the Mets for a few seasons. He literally copied Rivera and came out to Enter Sandman. Tell me that's not the weakest thing you've ever seen. Copying Mariano Rivera's walkout song.
And Like, what happened? Did he do well after that?
No, he would always blow it, and that's one of those guys like Tony would be tight about. And you know what's actually hilarious? I was dying laughing. I guess I didn't even realize this, but I guess Willie Randolph was at the game last night, and someone called in to Dave, and when they were doing Sub Rothenberg, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw Willie there. He was literally my favorite player of all time." It's just like dying laughing, thinking about how tight Tony is with Willie Randolph. Oh man, that's just funny. That's funny, but yeah. So really. So other than that, I mean, Yankees and the Mets off today. But I did just want to update everybody on the pick standings. We won't do any picks today, with Tony not being here. But
Would it be fair?
I went 4-0 yesterday. Tony went 3-1. So the boys are back. Obviously those are some good picks. Our deadline, I think, is the 9th of next month.
What's the bet for? What are you guys doing?
I actually wrote it down this time. So actually, let me get to that. So it's a Google Doc. I put it right on the top of the picks. How smart is that? So we don't forget.
Wow.
Wings for week 1.
Wow. Of football?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, is that going to be like? Can we make this like a thing? This football season, like we got to do Sundays together.
Oh yeah, yeah. So,
especially while the Jets are doing good.
Yeah. Well, I'm hosting. Everyone's invited.
Yeah, we're there.
Let's go.
We're there.
So with the records now, I am 1 game ahead of Tony, or no, 2 games ahead of Tony. 25-14. He's 23-16. So got a long way to go. But obviously, nice to get back on track after some tough couple weeks. Obviously, picking the Yankees every night when they're struggling, that didn't help. But other than that, I just also wanted to just give a mention here. We do have Tour Championship beginning tomorrow at East Lake. Obviously, the staggered start. And now, there's only 29 players because Will Zalatoris with that disc injury pulling out yesterday. And I mentioned the staggered start. So we'll have Scheffler at 10 under. Cantley at 8 under, Schauffele at 6 under, Burns at 5 under, Cam Smith at 4 under, Rory McIlroy at 4 under as well. So I know it's easy to say, okay, I mean, the top 2 or 3 guys are the only ones that have a chance here. But I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say, especially too, with all the controversy swirling, we've seen in the big moment, Cam Smith relishes it. And as he prepares to leave the tour, go to live and not be eligible for the President's Cup, Cam Smith, starting 6 shots back, is going to win this tournament, the Tour Championship, $15 million prize, and then says Tony's favorite soundbite, sayonara, to the PGA Tour as he heads over to live. And it just kind of seems like that's the way that it's meant to kind of wrap up. But I think sooner than later, we'll get some clarity there. And I think eventually the 2 tours should be able to coexist. I think that's always been the easiest thing, but obviously there's just animosity, between the 2. So unfortunately, we won't get to see that anytime soon. And obviously a big thing. My favorite one. Obviously, it's a shame, but that's just how it is. And just a couple other comments here. But first, that he's there for basketball.
And no, he's there for NFL
football.
too.
Football at Barnes. Count me in. Play me some Barnes Sounds clip. Gentleman Jack. He cannot get over Gentleman Jack. Wow.
Wow.
Let's go!
Oh, classic.
Said word.
Ain't never told no lie.
That's a great one.
The icing on the case.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
Gentleman Jack.
But yeah, so I mean, those are really the 2 main things, I wanted to talk about. I guess one other thing I just wanted to mention, since you're here, Michael, what's going on with Danny Ainge playing hardball for Donovan Mitchell here?
I don't like Danny Ainge. He's just a chief.
He's always been a stiff, but Boston roots. So what else do you expect?
I saw a funny tweet of like Leon Rose, if he could see Danny Ainge in person, and it was like a GIF, like a quick video of someone hitting someone in the face because he's just being such a like stubborn brat. Because Danny Ainge is known for targeting young, weak, like GMs, basically.
Okay, and swindling.
Yeah,
them. Right.
And like basically fucking him over in the long run. Like, oh, I'll promise you this type of thing. We'll do a trade at another time, and then never does type of thing. So I think dude, we'll close out with this. If you're a Knicks fan, you should be happy that this is the first time in 25 years they haven't listened to the fans.
Yeah.
Like every time we're like, oh, we need this person. Everybody's like, you see Fat Joe. Yeah, we need Donovan. And then what happens? They get Melo. They get this. They get like, no.
What is it? Why are celebrity Knicks fans so annoying?
They're just dumb.
Are they fake? Is that the Stephen A draft reaction? Oh my God. It's so ridiculous. Like, Stephen A, nobody cares, man.
I know.
Like, I don't know how much clearer I could be.
I know, but I'm happy for once that we just are like, okay, we have good pieces. They're better than what you like. Before they would have given Utah whatever. And then we would have had RJ and Brunson and Mitchell. And I'll even throw in Julius, but with no bench, no unit.
What do you think the package is going to end up being?
It's going to be hopefully, dude. Honestly, they need to get Toppin out of that deal and
he's right in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, and put Randall and put Grimes because people are saying Grimes looks great. But Grimes isn't going to see any minutes. He's not going to see any, so just get rid of him. Coach Thibs clearly likes Quickly a lot, like loves his motor, and Quickly's had a great offseason. You can see his workouts. He looks, dude, great. He looks like a man now. And same with Obi. His game looks groomed. He's doing step backs, Dirk one leg post fades. And like if Obi's doing that with his athleticism at his age, like, dude, I don't want any of these guys gone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So basketball around the corner, I believe. What is it? October?
Yeah, October. Yeah, 15th. I want to say around there.
Okay. Do you know who the Knicks are opening up with?
I do not. But we'll find out.
Yeah, absolutely. But once again, really enjoy everybody tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe, well as checking out those archives on the YouTube page, Tony and Kyle, as well as our summer collection, downtimetv.com. I want everybody to enjoy this wonderful day, and we will see you
mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline.